I was on YouTube the other day, and I was visited by this old theory that I hadn't heard in a little bit of time. It was suggesting that Bakugou was a previous user of One for All. Now, when I first saw this theory, way times back when the second movie originally came out, I immediately dismissed it. Didn't want to have anything to do with it. I wasn't even concerned about what it was saying. But then the last episode of My Hero Season 4 came out, and it made me rethink my views for just a split second. Because in the final scene of My Hero Academia Season 4, or around there, that final scene, Izuku is looking at all the previous predecessors, and the person who was on YouTube, he was explaining it in his video, he was like, if you look far in the back of this image, you'll see someone who looks exactly like Bakugou with his gauntlets on. And I looked up the image so that I didn't just have to go off of what he had. I looked it up for myself. I'll put it on the screen right now. And the dude in the back, I will admit, has some resemblance to Bakugou, right? And that got me thinking. Yeah, it looks like him, but other than that, what really is there that's saying that Bakugou could have been a past user? And I watched a couple more videos on it, and their main thing was, how come Izuku got his One for All back after he gave it to Bakugou, right? And a lot of people's theory was the fact that since Bakugou already had it, he can't have the quirk again. And I was thinking to myself, why not? Why can't he have the quirk for the 2 times if he already had it before? Like, it wouldn't make any sense. So, I watched another video because I was invested at this point. I had to get to the bottom of this. Alright, I was Sherlock Holmes. And the dude described it as when All Might lost One for All. He described it as the final embers of the raging flame, kind of going out. And that it was gone for him. And the fact of the matter is, when Izuku gave the quirk to Bakugou, for a little bit of time, it didn't recognize who it was going to. So Bakugou he had access to that power again. The sparks were kind of lit, but then once it kind of realized who it was, it realized the sparks have fully gone out, and that quirk can no longer be used by him anymore. And I saw that, and I heard him talking. He was sounding like a preacher, bro. I was like, talk to him. This sounds like some facts. And then I sat there for a second. And I was like, this theory sounds cool, but it's just that. A theory. And unfortunately a false one when you really think about it. Because Bakugou losing One for All. First things first, when did this happen? Why was it not brought up at an earlier date in the show? And at least where I am, and even in the manga, it's not really something that's revealed or even talked about, that Bakugou had One for All and then lost it, right? And I think their interpretation of what All Might was saying is wrong. They're trying to interpret it as, All Might had, One for All is this, flame, and then over time, it burns out. But the problem was, it's not really like that. It's the fact that All Might gave One for All away, and he was holding on to the remnants. It was, as it was described earlier in the show, it's as if there was a torch, and All Might had it, and then he passed the flame on to Izuku. Is there still some flame on his stick? Yes, but over time, that was beginning to decrease. And then he used up the last of that flame, swung its last bit out when he defeated All for One. The problem with the theory that Bakugou had One for All before, there's a few problems. It wouldn't matter, if Izuku gave it back to All Might would most likely have One for All again. The reason it was the reason why he lost it wasn't because he gave it away, but it wasn't like there was a certain time limit on the quirk as a whole. It was due to the fact that he gave it away that he lost it, right? And if Bakugou had lost it, like he had given it away to, we still don't know who, because the theory never really, specifies who he gave it away to, because we know where All Might got the quirk from, right? But if Bakugou gave it away, if someone were to give it back to him, it's never stated that the fact that you've had it before would affect you gaining it again, because you only lose it once you pass it on. It's not like, it's a full time limit like that. And not only that, but what I'm about to say, a little bit of a manga spoiler, so I'm gonna put that up on the screen. So those of you who don't want to hear this, cover your ears, right now, so you don't have to hear this. But in the manga, it's revealed that One For All is a stockpiling quirk, right? So yeah, it's a raging flame that once you pass it on, you slowly begin to lose your quirk. But not only is it a stockpiling quirk of physical strength and power, it's a stockpiling quirk of the quirks themselves. So if you have a quirk and you had One For All, and then you pass it on to somebody else, your quirk then becomes a part of One For All and is passed on to the next person. That's why right now in the manga, Izuku has access to all these different quirks, right? But if Bakugou had One For All in the past, there would have been a time in which it was given to him, and then he gave it to somebody else. And then after that point, especially how long it's been since Izuku has had One For All, if Bakugou gave it away, even if it was a little bit after All Might did, by the time that's passed since All Might has retired, Bakugou's quirk would also be gone. And it wouldn't be he just couldn't be a student at UA anymore, and he wouldn't be a part of the story. The fact that he still has it means that he can't be someone who had One For All in the past. But I am curious to figure out how Izuku got his quirk back after he gave it to All Might, or after he gave it to Bakugou, and what happened and who that is in the background, because all these dudes who are lining up right there, all those predecessors, they all looking pretty tough, and I think figuring out who they're gonna be is what Season 5 and maybe Season 6 is what it's gonna be on. But that's for another video.